Hello and welcome back, guys. We're now starting a new story, Huntrix and Hero, MHA, A My Hero Academia, by Prysmordia. You can find author's profile link in the description. Let's begin Chapter 1 Huntrix and Hero, MHA, A My Hero Academia fanfiction. Izuku Midoriya and his class are now in their second year in UA. They had survived the war against the League of Villains that Shigaraki led, and was backed by All for One. Izuku Midoriya and his class are now in their second year in UA. They had survived the war against the League of Villains that Shigaraki led, and was backed by All for One. He got a growth spurt at the end of the war, months later. Although it cost him the quirk 1 for all, since what he has now is a mere ember. In his pastime, while still being sad at the fact that he's only on borrowed time with the quirk, he made it his mission to still be a hero. So, at night in the support course department, he always sneaks in and makes his own gear. He'd been in shambles at first on how to make some gears, but taking peeks in Mayhatsum's notes and taking liberties of making changes. For months, he had visited David Shield, who shared his blueprints on the quirk multiplier. The one he had hidden so not to be in the hands of the villains and corrupt officials. David entrusted the blueprints to Izuku for a new light to guide a brighter future, and Izuku is that light in David's eyes. He knows it ever since he saw All Might's legacy radiating on Izuku. Flashback: Are you sure you're giving me the schematics for your greatest creation, David-san? Izuku saw the smile on David's face. Of course, I believe this will be safe in your hands, and I hope it will help you in becoming a hero. Izuku for months had made tweaks in both design and construction of the gear. Izuku for months had made tweaks in both design and construction of the gear. I just received your final design deck. I mean, Izuku, it's great, and you even improved my papa's design. Melissa said to him. She's so proud of the inventor Izuku had become. Its design is a gold-coated earpiece that sticks to his skin. While making contact, it's multiplying the embers he had, turning the embers into an inferno of power. To have a tool to output one for all's power, Izuku had made a sword to regulate power instead of putting all the toll in his body. Evan's mana, a sword he built to regulate his power, as the 7 quirks within one for all with no vestige had become something more. It wasn't just a quirk factor anymore, a sword he built to regulate his power, as the 7 quirks within one for all with no vestige had become something more. It wasn't just a quirk factor anymore, but a source, as he calls it, that powers this sword. You really are a one-of-a-kind genius, Izuku. I can't believe you made something like this. I'm impressed. Melissa said to him. Within the sword is a powerful anti-quirk regulator that emits particles of quirk suppressants. It nullifies quirks to a degree without weakening the user's own quirk. Within the sword is a powerful anti-quirk regulator that emits particles of quirk suppressants. It nullifies quirks to a degree without weakening the user's own quirk. 1 for all embers with the help of the quirk multiplier has become something more, something better and stable. It became separated into 7 sources of power, the factors of previous wielders that still stayed with him but with no vestige or soul, just pure power, ferocious destruction. That's why he made Evan's mana to regulate said power. I can do this, Izuku said while all his gear are equipped. The blue luminescent light of the hero flame, his quirk multiplier, shined. I can do it. With Evan's mana in hand, he raised it to the sky. I will become a hero, his words carried by the winds. Izuku in his second year has renamed himself, abandoned the hero name for something new. As his hero license states, his holy sword hero, Izuku, he trashed the Deku hero name to not look at the past and look towards his own future. Izuku, he's currently walking back to the classroom while still looking down on his phone. Mira, I'm visiting Japan, do you have time? Izuku, broccoli for you. Always, update me when you're on Japan, I'm picking you up. Mira, cool, can you pick up my brand of mascara? And sunscreen. Japan isn't really the ideal place for my skin right now. It's so hot right there, how are you even still living there, Greenie? It's a DMN hotpot there. Izuku, broccoli, you still have some beauty products here last time you visited. I'll take these for safekeeping. And what's wrong here? Japan is normal, you know. Mira, I'm not even gonna argue with your logic, Greenie, just know I'll be there in 2 hours or something. I'm so done with this plane. If Zoe keeps bugging me, I'm throwing her out the plane window. Izuku broccoli, oh that's just mean, come on have some patience for Zoe-chan. Mira, I know I love you Izuku, can't wait to see you again. Izuku broccoli, I love you too Mira, safe travels. Izuku drops the call with a smile on his face. Mira's the girl he met on a dating app 5 months ago. She's a famous singer in South Korea, part of a singer and hero team, the Huntrix, the most well-known hero group in South Korea, those who specializes in hunting those who were affected by GWIMA, South Korea's #1 villain who lived since the dawn of quirks. His phone's wallpaper is her, Mira, just as appealing the day we first met, after that, just as appealing the day we first met, after that, he grimaced. Uraraka rejected his confession back then. I'm sorry Deku-kun, but I can't accept your feelings. Right now I just want to work on myself, become a hero I was meant to be. I'm really sorry but I can't be your girlfriend Deku-kun. Was her exact words, but Izuku saw past that. Past is past and he moved on, so no point in sulking in the past. Flashback: Izuku was a bit hurt that his confession didn't go the way he expected, so he talked with All Might and said he'd be gone for a days. He wanted to calm down since it was embarrassing to be rejected with so many people watching, not just his class, but also Class 1B was watching that time. So he took a very enthusiastic walk on the moonlit park. A park he frequent whenever he feels down. He sat at the bench for a few hours, sobbing his feelings that got rejected. Dude, you look like SHT, a voice behind spoke. He saw a woman a little mature looking than him, reddish pink hair. Rude, he whispered. You can't really blame me though, have you even looked at a mirror, she retorted, softly. What's your name? Sulking moss head. She teased to get his attention. Izuku Midoriya, he flatly replied. Mine's Mira, here for a vacation away from South Korea, you know. He knows that name, no wonder her face and hair was familiar. Of course he didn't admit it, but is a fan of her and her group. He loves their music. As the two shook hands, their fates intertwined. Both had talked that night. As fate made its magic. 1 week later Izuku wanted to move on from his feelings for Uraraka. So he downloaded a dating site, and All Might, being supportive father figure, made sure Izuku got the app subscription so he has lots of options. That's where, both their fates intertwined once again. As the two downloaded the app at the same time and they were matched with each other. Fate really does its magic, love will find its other piece to make itself whole. Flashback: END. After school hours, I should prepare. I can't just meet her while I'm still in my uniform, that'd be weird and boring. He said. After brainstorming what he'd wear, his mind set on 1 set of clothes. He's not some loser, through Mira he gained a bit of fashion flair. He's not some loser, through Mira he gained a bit of fashion flair, this will do. He whispered, while running down the common room of the dorms. Hey nerd, where are you going? Bakugo asked him, suspicion in his eyes. Oh nothing cat, just going a date, nothing new. Everyone in the common room raised their eyebrows. You got a girlfriend Midoriya? Mineta shouts, jealousy in both ways, his jealous Izuku got a girl, and the other fact that he also likes Izuku. This bisexual deviant didn't pursue Izuku though, and thank God. Well yeah. There's nothing wrong with me dating someone, right? Izuku scanned everyone, taking into account who was there. Jairu was listening in on her earphone. I broke into a million pieces, and I can't go back. Musical notes, she sings along with music she's listening to, and Izuku chuckled at that. Oh, she's a fan, he thought. Well bye guys, gotta go, can't be late now can I, he said while running, waving them off. Mina got a bright idea, suspicious, I got a plan. Bakugo's eyebrows furrowed. And what's this dumb plan you got going on, raccoon eyes? He asked. We spy on them, she exclaimed. Chapter 2: Huntrix and Hero, MHA, A My Hero Academia fanfiction. Rumi Zoe Mira. Rumi. Call your boyfriend off, I don't want to break your sword. Izuku pleaded, or you just weakened Izuku, said Jinu jokingly while Rumi sighed. Bite me Captain Kirk. Izuku swings half force, and sends sword Jinu at a pillar, embedded in it. Rumi. Can you get me out? I think he chipped my edge. Jinu pleaded. Rumi again sighed while walking to the pillar and taking her boyfriend out. Jinu pleaded. Rumi again sighed while walking to the pillar and taking her boyfriend out. Izuku right now, yeah, he's the one who jumped. Serves you right, you can heal it in a few hours, anyways Mireia. Izuku, by a mere second, changed his tone and jumped on Mira like he's the girlfriend of the two of them, his voice feminine. I miss you too Izuku, said Mira while ruffling Izuku's unkempt vibrant green hair. Izuku literally looks like the girlfriend at this very moment, all clingy and stuff while Mira was ruffling his hair. Rumi, is this really the guy who beat all for one? He sounds like a schoolgirl. Jinu looks at the scene confused and lost. Unfortunately, yeah, I mean fortunately he beat all for one, but unfortunately he acts like this with Mira. He's like a girl while being with Mira, all clingy and stuff. Rumi really liked to have that kind of interaction. Unfortunately her boyfriend still has a few months to finally repair his soul and gain human form again. Izuku to Mira, Izuku to Mira, hey. Not here Izuku. Mira served him a smack to the head, since Izuku just playfully liked her neck, causing her to blush since they're still in the airport. Ouch! Izuku exclaimed while scratching the bump on his head. So unfair, I want some too. Izuku and Mira both looked at Zoe, who was the one who said that. So unfair, I want some too. Izuku and Mira both looked at Zoe, who was the one who said that. Zoe, you still haven't found someone? Izuku asked and turned to Rumi and Mira. SCKS to be her, she still hasn't found someone yet. Jinu said, while Zoe glared at the sword. It's unfair. I want hugs and kisses too. Zoe jumped on Izuku's legs, and looked at him with pleading puppy dog eyes. Zoe. He's my boyfriend, Show. Mira tried her best to keep Zoe away from Izuku's legs. She's really this desperate? Izuku looks at Rumi, who nodded, and unfortunately for you, and her, Izuku is exactly her ideal type for a man, heroic, sassy, and masculine. Rumi stated while Jinu chuckles while still inside the sword. Please take me too. Be my boyfriend. Zoe yelled, as crowds began to form around them, taking all the drama the group were making. Some were even taking videos with their phones. Zoe, you're making a scene, come on, stand up. Mira spoke, and tried to pry off Zoe from Izuku's legs. Now this just got worse, people are taking pictures of us, come on, stand up Zoe. Izuku softly spoke, no, not unless you make me your girlfriend too. Izuku sighed at that. If he didn't budge, the drama would just continue on and on. Hey, isn't that the UA student who defeated Shigaraki and all for one? Someone from the crowd points out, and Izuku just sighed, this thing just got worse. Fine, come on. Izuku took Zoe and Mira by their hands and made a run for it. Rumi. Come on. He yelled as Rumi and Jinu followed behind them. Wait, aren't those girls the Huntrix? Follow them. Now even a crowd followed behind them. God FDMN it. Now people are after us. Rumi, Jinu scatter. Izuku, while still holding Mira and Zoe, made drastic measures and leaped to a building. Jinu and Rumi followed a second after them. This is why I hate my fans. Last time I checked my fan mail I got a DMN handful of bras and panties. Worst of all, they're all used, and they're the size of my head. Who has that big of a BRST? Izuku lets the girls go, as he pats dust off of himself. Back at the dorms, Momo Yaoyorozu just sneezed. Was someone talking about me? Your fans are the most thirsty harlots ever. Jinu said, still using words that only existed 400 years ago, proving himself the old fossil of the group. Yuck. Rumi, Mira and Zoe shuddered at the thought. They didn't know fans would go that far. Same disgusting. I still can't shake off the memory. Izuku wanted to throw up while remembering that whole debacle. Yeah, but look at the bright side of this situation, Izuku. Zoe circles in on Izuku, and envelopes his head around her arms. I'm your girlfriend now too. Izuku completely forgot about that fact, Mira. Mira raised her eyebrow. What? You said yes, take responsibility for it, Izuku. What? You said yes, take responsibility for it, Izuku. Mira replied, crossing her arms. Now I just got 2 girlfriends, just great. Izuku said while sighing to himself, knowing he got himself into trouble again. Kiss me too. Zoe yelled, the desperate, cute and adorable girl pleaded at her now forced to say yes boyfriend. Izuku signed his own death certificate and just went on with it. Fine, if no one could see your worth as a woman, then they're blind. Izuku went in, pressed his lips into Zoe's luscious red lips. MHM, Zoe let out a passionate while Mira sighed beside them, but at least to her, her friend now found someone who would treasure her, the most perfect one. Izuku, her very own boyfriend. I guess we're sisters now, sharing the same boyfriend and all. She said, while looking at Zoe, who was still enjoying Izuku's lips and Izuku's hand, who's exploring her womanly features, her luscious butt and curvy yet slim figure. As their lips parted, Zoe for a moment took a breather and looked at Izuku lovingly. She found someone who would see her worth, even her naive attitude, and innocent personality. Thank you, for accepting me, Izuku. Zoe whispered, while resting her head on Izuku's masculine shoulder. Mira, come here. Izuku reached for his first girlfriend's hand and brought her into a hug. You both are now the most important women in my life, and except for my mom of course, and Eri, she's a bit of a shy girl but she'll take a liking to Zoe. You both are now the most important women in my life, and except for my mom of course, and Eri, she's a bit of a shy girl but she'll take a liking to Zoe. Both girls smiled while resting on both sides of Izuku's shoulders. The little girl just got 2 mother figures. I can't even cry while stuck in this sword, but I'll tell you this, Rumi, I am crying just seeing a scene with the 4 of them. Jinnu spoke, happy for the little girl Eri, who, for some time became his niece. She's an angel, Jinnu, the most innocent little girl I ever met. The 2 nodded. Meanwhile at Izuku's dorm room, Eri just got in with her grandma Inko, and they're both confused where Izuku went. So they returned at the common room. Katsuki dear, do you have an idea where my baby boy went? Katsuki perked up, glancing at his auntie. I do, auntie, he's with Mira. Inko was overjoyed when she heard what Katsuki said. Oh dear, you hear that, Eri? Eri was jumping, overjoyed about hearing her mommy Mira came to visit again. Ha! Mira. That's an odd name for a Japanese girl, Bakugo. Jiro questioned, while Bakugo sighed. Because she isn't, she's from South Korea. For a moment, Jiro's world stopped hearing what Katsuki said. Yeah. My mommy Mira is famous. She's part of Huntrix. Eri exclaimed, she's who? Jiro spat all the juice she's been drinking at Katsuki's face. She's who? Jiro spat all the juice she's been drinking at Katsuki's face. Son of a bit dash, Katsuki paused seeing Eri was with them and just shuts his mouth up before he could finish that. Son of a bit dash, Katsuki paused seeing Eri was with them and just shuts his mouth up before he could finish that. Chapter 3 Huntrix and Hero, MHA, A My Hero Academia fanfiction. The dorm doors slid open with a hiss, and the air inside you, A.S. Class 3A's common room shifted. Papa's back. Eri practically launched off the couch, her little feet padding against the hardwood floor as she sprinted down the hallway. Her white hair bounced behind her like a tale of hope. Slow down, sweetheart. Inko called after her gently, holding a tray of snacks she'd made earlier. Katsuki leaned up against the wall near the kitchen, arms crossed, trying hard to act like he wasn't waiting too. And then slammed. The door flew open. Standing in the entryway like a movie poster were Izuku, Mira, and Zoe, windblown, panting slightly, covered in airport grime, sweat, and at least 5 different brands of confused public attention. Zoe clung to Izuku's left arm like a lifeline, while Mira clutched the right with the calm grace of someone who had done this more 10 times already. Behind them were Rumi, unbothered as usual, and Sword Jinnu, floating beside her like a smug, sarcastic balloon on a string. Eri stopped dead in her tracks. You brought mommy Mira, she squealed and jumped into Myra's arms. Mira squealed just as excitedly and scooped her up, spinning her around. My baby angel gotten bigger again. Mira cried dramatically. Have you been eating well? Brushing your teeth? Punching bullies like I taught you? Eri nodded. Yes. And I even made a drawing for Zoe this time. Zoe's eyes sparkled. Really? For me? You're an angel. She tackled Eri and Mira into a bear hug. I'm officially your second mom now, okay? Eri giggled. Yay. Another mama. Behind them, Izuku scratched his head. Well, that went smoother than I thought. Until Inko stepped forward. With her arms crossed. And the mom aura of a nuclear bomb. Izuku Midoriya, she said in that calm, terrifying voice only mothers had. You left this morning with one online girlfriend. You've come back with two, explain. He didn't exactly dash, Rumi gave up while sighing, she's not gonna save Izuku this time around. I begged him in public until he said yes. Zoe perked up, and answered. Technically she hijacked him at the airport, and acted like that cat meme, you're mine now, and he couldn't do anything about it. Mira added. Midoriya, what a foolish, noble idiot you are. Jinnu butts in, while little out a little chuckle much to Izuku's chagrin at the betrayal. Can I have a glass of water first? Izuku pleaded, too dehydrated to deal with this SHT right now. Crash from behind the counter, Jiru had just dropped her drink, again. Why you're dating Mira and Zoe, she shrieked. What kind of anime protagonist are you? Technically fanfiction but yeah, muttered Izuku FDMN at the DMN fourth wall. You know what, not surprised, Kaminari added, grinning. We all saw how clingy Zoe got last time she visited. I was betting this would happen. Izuku absolute madman, you revel in the dark my friend, you have the charisma of an incubus. Muttered Tokoyami with deep, admiring concern. Wait till the media finds out, Siro laughed. Deku's gonna trend worldwide again, for the new reasons he. He added before puffing his vape again and blowing out smoke. 10 minutes later, the girls had moved into the dorm's living area. Mira sat with Eri curled into her lap while Zoe sat practically in Izuku's lap, clinging to him like a plushie. Rumi was leaning against the back of the couch with Jinnu floating lazily in the air beside her. I don't get it, Mineta whispered to Kaminari. How'd Deku bag two girlfriends? He blushes if you compliment his shoes. He asked his friend, Kaminari, who shrugged. It's the eyes, Momo said wisely. Big green eyes. Makes you want to protect him or steal his soul. No in between. Kaminari blinked twice in a row, Yamamoto out here trying to bag him too, DM and Midoriya you're worse than the Saja boys, they take souls while you taking PPs, he chuckled at his own train of thoughts. And the arms, Mina added. Have you seen how jacked he got? He's low-key ripped. I'm still trying to believe that two of the actual members of Huntrix, one is feeding Eri Pocky sticks like it's the most normal thing ever, Jiru whispered. That's cause she's practically Eri's mom now, Rumi chimed in. Jinnu. We're adopting a kid too. That's final. Jinnu on the other hand was shaking, and oh okay. He replied. I want to experience bonding time like how Eri and Mira spend together while watching cartoons, and emotional advertisements, Rumi stated, she wanted that kind of bonding with a kid too, one she could call her child. It's true. Zoe sobbed from Izuku's chest. So many abandoned puppies, she full-blown cried into his chest, leaving wet snot in Izuku's green jacket. Later that evening, while the chaos subsided, Mira stepped into the kitchen to help Inko prepare dinner. I can't tell if I should scold you or thank you, Inko said, chopping vegetables. Both, Mama Inko both. Mira said, slicing meat expertly. Izuku's a hero. He deserves real love even if I have to fight girls off like flies. You fought one off so hard you accidentally adopted her, Inko laughed. She's harmless, for one. Zoe's naive, Mira smiled. Clingy. But Izuku makes her feel safe. She needed that. Inko nodded softly. So does he, and I'm proud of how my baby boy has grown up. Back in Izuku's room, after dinner, Zoe was now sprawled out on his bed, watching Eri show off her crayon drawings of Izuku the Dragon Warrior. Mira sat cross-legged at his desk, combing her fingers through her own hair. Izuku lay on the floor, arms crossed under his head, staring at the ceiling. Rumi sat beside him with Jinnu floating like a lamp. So two girlfriends now, Rumi finally said. Yeah. Izuku replied, still not believing his life. You good? Rumi added her question while looking at Izuku, who was smiling. Mentally. No. Romantically. Surprisingly okay. He added a tired chuckle. Rumi chuckled. Well, when Jinnu gets his body back, we'll go on a double date. Oh God, he felt a cold shiver, with matching outfits. Rumi added while Izuku exploded from the thought alone. I'm changing schools. Later that night Mira tucked Eri into Izuku's bed. The little girl clung to her two mommies with a sleepy smile. Izuku's my hero, my papa is the greatest hero of all, she murmured. Zoe kissed her forehead. Ours too. They left her room in silence, walking back to the living room where Izuku was sitting at the window, looking out over the city lights. They sat beside him. And for a while no one spoke. Just the quiet hum of city noise, the soft hush of wind through leaves, and three hearts that, against all odds, found each other. Mira leaned into Izuku's right shoulder. Zoe into the left. Izuku. Zoe whispered. He hummed, thanks for not letting me go, she murmured in Izuku's ears. He smiled, closing his eyes. He smiled, closing his eyes, never, as his two girlfriends lovingly hugged him from each side. Chapter 4 Huntrix and Hero, MHA, A My Hero Academia Fanfiction U. Dorms, the next day's sunlight streamed through the windows of Class 3 as dorms. For once, there were no alarms. No surprise villain attacks. No hero briefings. Just a blessed, golden morning. The smell of pancakes and eggs wafted through the common room. Izuku flipped the pancakes. Mira called from across the kitchen, her hair tied up in a messy bun, wearing one of his oversized shirts. I am. Izuku shouted back, already mid-flip. You're the one who keeps sneaking mochi into the batter. That's called innovation, she said with a wink. Innovation my butt, he spat back. Eri sat on the counter, legs swinging as she watched them cook, wearing a frilly pink apron with Mommy Myra's little helper on it. We're gonna make enough for everyone, right? Even Bakugo? Zoe asked as she entered the kitchen, still brushing her hair. He growls when he's hungry. Katsuki, walking in at that exact moment, scowled. I heard that, dumbass. Good morning to you too, Mr. Explosion, Zoe chirped back, sticking out her tongue. Kirishima followed behind him, already in workout gear. Yo. Smells amazing. You guys doing a whole dorm breakfast or just feeding the chaos gremlins? Yes, Mira answered. Common room, later that morning plates were stacked high. Students gathered around the long dorm table, laughing, eating, trading bites. Even Mineta was quiet for once, busy stuffing his face with bacon. Siro and Kaminari were mid-arm wrestling contests while Momo took notes on proper protein-to-carb ratios. Tokoyami was quietly feeding Dark Shadow spoonfuls of eggs. Jairu sat with earbuds in one ear, the other listening to Mira tell a ridiculous K-pop tour story involving a drunk backup dancer and a bear. That goddamn backup dancer was Izuku, who visited her months ago. Rumi leaned back on the couch, sipping coffee. Jinnu hovered behind her, acting as a floating coaster. So, Mina said between bites, grinning. What's it like living in a shoujo anime, Midoriya? Izuku blinked. confused to the highest degree, you, Mira, Zoe, and Eri. It's like watching a domestic sitcom every day. You're the main character. I'm just waiting for a beach episode. Oh my god, yes. Zoe gasped. We should go to the beach next weekend. You'll need a new swimsuit, Mira muttered while sipping juice. Your last one got shredded during that fishing incident. Izuku reprimands her. That wasn't my fault. The fish bit me first. Mira protested, who would even fight off a swarm of piranhas while in a swimsuit. Everyone laughed. Even Bakugo snorted. Afternoon, game time. By midday, the dorm was fully alive. Kaminari had set up a gaming competition in the rec room. Alright, tournament rules, he announced. 2v2 tag team fighting game, no button mashers allowed. Define button mashing, Zoe asked, holding a controller sideways. You. Mira smirked. I choose Rumi. Hey. Zoe shouted, betrayed. Izuku tried to sneak out but was tackled by Eri. Nope, she giggled. You promised to play the puzzle game with me. I'm being held hostage, he whispered, deadpan, as she dragged him off by the hand. From the other corner of the room, Bakugo and Jairu versus Kaminari and Siro. Explosions and screaming soon followed. Evening, movie marathon and hair braiding. The sun dipped low, and the dorm lights softened. Blankets piled up. Eri curled up between Mira and Zoe, while Izuku sat behind them, brushing out Myra's hair. They watched Studio Ghibli movies on a projector set up by Yaoyorozu, sipping hot chocolate and tossing popcorn at Kaminari, who kept quoting every line. Rumi leaned against Jairu, dozing. I could get used to this, Mina sighed. No training. No danger. Just peace. Don't jinx it, Shoji muttered, petting a napping Tokoyami. Night, rooftop UA. Later, when everyone had gone to bed, Izuku found himself on the rooftop with Mira and Zoe, the city lights glowing softly below them. Eri had fallen asleep in Myra's arms. Zoe leaned her head on Izuku's shoulder. She's really happy, you know. Eri. I've never seen a kid light up like that. Izuku smiled faintly. I used to think I wasn't the kind of person who could give her what she needed, but I became the papa she wanted, but sometimes I wonder, am I really enough of a papa for her? But you are, Mira said. And you gave us that too, you gave us an opportunity to be mothers to her. Zoe added, nozzles her head on Izuku's chest. Silence followed. But it was the comfortable kind. Mira shifted. We should plan something fun next week. A picnic maybe. Or karaoke night. Zoe suggested, excited again. I'll rap for you both. Then Mira can go rock and roll and scare everyone off the stage. I do not sing rock. Babe. You threatened a villain while screaming last month. That counts. Izuku laughed softly, eyes tracing the stars above. Just another day. No battles. No fame. Just family. So, Izuku, wanna have fun? Zoe flatly said, you just ruined the mood. Both Izuku and Mira screamed at her. Same night, UA dorms. Izuku, Mira and Zoe went back to the dorms and somehow walked past Rumi's temporary room. The door's open. Izuku slowly grabbed the handle, slowly creaking the door open, as the three peers inside the room. What they saw, terrified the three. Ah, the trio screamed, scaring the two little girls on Rumi's lap. Ah, the trio screamed, scaring the two little girls on Rumi's lap. Oh come on. I thought I'd do a surprise. Rumi was bummed out. You got a body now. Izuku pointed at Jinu, who now has a physical body. Yup, thanks to this sword right here I gained the energy to maintain a body for what I got, I think a month. Jinu throws Evan's mana back to Izuku. My sword isn't your DMNCHARJR. My sword isn't your DMNCHARJR. Chapter 5 Huntrix and Hero, MHA, A My Hero Academia Fanfiction U. Campus, the day after the reveal. It was supposed to be just another Monday. Morning jog, homeroom with Aizawa, maybe a sparring session with Ida. But Izuku should have known better. Because the moment he stepped through the school gates, scream. A horde of students, mostly from general studies, support, and business course, rushed toward him like a tsunami of dyed hair, glitter, and handmade fan signs. Is it true? You're dating Mira and Zoe? Deku-senpai, you absolute legend. A shouts at him, voice filled with admiration. I ship it. I ship you with everything, even a hospital bed. TF is wrong with you people. One girl held up a handmade sign with glitter ink that read, Greenheart Deku times Mira times Zoe forever Greenheart hashtag triple threat love hashtag greenboy supremacy. Izuku froze, his backpack still half-zipped, his jaw open. Huh. How do you all know? That wasn't even on TV. Social media, honestly dude, I think you should go before it gets worse than it is, plus. Kaminari whispered from beside him, too entertained to help. Your life is trending hardcore. Mira posted a selfie last night of you three eating noodles. It broke Japan. Oh god, Izuku muttered. Always Izuku was trying to get to class. Key word, trying. Deku-senpai. I brought you chocolate for energy. No thanks, I'm good. Wait, how did you get in the building? Another girl grabbed his arm. Can I touch your biceps? Zoe says they're ripped. Please don't touch me, he begged. A support course boy ran up with a full mechanical prototype labeled Dekufan 3000 and shouted, I made a mid-air projector that displays a slideshow of your best couple photos. Want a beta test? Izuku was trapped. Physically surrounded. His quirk hand twitched. The urge to vanish through the ceiling was strong. Luckily. Boom. Move, extras. Katsuki Bakugo exploded onto the scene like an angry guard dog, scaring half the fans away with pure rage. You touch him again, I explode ya. I love him too, I wanna see him explode in me, whispered one girl before fainting. Not what I meant. You thirsty beach. Katsuki was fighting his urge to blush at that dirty comment. Class 3A common room, after homeroom, and then Bakugo literally kicked 3 people into a bush to get them off me, Izuku grumbled, flopping onto the couch like a man on the brink of collapse. Ah, Mira cooed, sitting beside him with a mischievous grin. That's so cute. Our boyfriend is popular. Zoe leaned over his back. You're officially idol material. Can I get you a sparkly stage outfit? With mesh. And a glow stick sword. I want peace, Izuku into a pillow. Just one day, without being asked about my abs. Mineta leaned from the kitchen. Can I ask about your PP then? Izuku replied with a very cold no. Later, cafeteria chaos. Even lunch was a battlefield now. Izuku couldn't even pick up his tray without whispers trailing behind him. Look, look. It's him. A random female student. From the support course yelled the boyfriend of 2 Huntrix members. Her friend added. I heard he sparred with Rumi and won. Well, it's a given, it's like comparing a coughing baby with an exploding sun. What do they expect from a guy who has a sword at full power, could sever someone's fate, future, and providence? Is it true he once slayed and defeated all for one while singing? A very interesting choice of topic indeed. A support course kid ran up with a cardboard cutout of Mira and asked, dead serious, sir, do you think she'd sign this if I shipped it to your dorm? She lives in the same building as me. Izuku almost exploded then and there from all the bullshit he went through throughout the day. Meanwhile, back in class 3A, Mina and Jairu were watching all of this unfold through the dorm's CCTV security feed and dying laughing. Oh my god, he looks like a stray cat being hunted by pigeons. Mina wheezed. I'm making popcorn, Jairu declared, while in her Huntrix signed t-shirt. Ida, trying to remain noble, adjusted his glasses. While the attention is excessive, it is heartening to see so many admire Midoriya for his romantic courage, said the robot who kept slicing air. Oh, shut up, you're jealous because he has fan art with matching flower crowns, Kaminari muttered, scrolling on his phone. Also, someone's drawing lutes. Like, already. Give me that, no corny upon this sacred household. Ida growled, trying to confiscate it. Evening, Dorm Izuku had barricaded himself on the pillow fort Eri and Zoe made. He was sipping soup Mira brought him with trembling hands. I saw, signs. Printed shirts. Stickers of my blushing face, he shuddered while remembering it all. You're an idle boyfriend now, Zoe said, pulling the blanket over them. You gotta suffer with grace, cutie. Rumi peeked her head in. You'll live. Maybe. Still pondering on the idea if Izuku survives this, while also having Derpy, Py and Susie, Sai who's both in human form and is now on her lap, Jinnu floating around them conserving energy, a protective father and boyfriend. Mira massaged his shoulders gently. You'll adjust. Or, we'll release a statement saying you're ours and scare the fans off, she stated. Would that work? He saw hope. No. They'll like you more, Mira sighed, and Izuku crumbles down once again. Just F me. He yelled, Zoe instantly perked up and looks at him. Yes finally before Izuku was tackled by her. That night, fan mail DLVRY someone knocked at the dorm. Kirishima opened it. Behind the door stood an exhausted mailman with 2 crates. DLVRY for, Deku, EY Midobro I think you have mail. Izuku peeked out from under the blanket. The mailman dropped the crates with a thud. Love letters, chocolates, marriage requests, a whole binder labeled pet names for Green Bean Hottie I'm not kidding. Kirishima swore, on bro code. I want to die, Izuku whispered. Where's my sword when I need it? He joked, Zoe squealed. Let's go through them. It's like unboxing chaos. Mira smirked. Fan gift review live stream, anyone? Rumi come on join us this will be fun. Izuku groaned. I'm transferring to Shiketsu. He absolutely gave up, for a man who defeated Shigaraki and All for One. He's weak to fan girls hounding him. Chapter 6 Huntrix and Hero, MHA, A My Hero Academia fanfiction. The city glistened under a soft golden haze as Tokyo's safe zones bustled with energy. Summer filtered through filtered skies, and for once, life felt like it slowed down. Izuku Midoriya walked with his hands full, one clasping Myra's fingers and the other holding Zoe's as they wandered through a quiet, open plaza. They laughed. Mira wore dark sunglasses, a floppy sun hat, and a smile that hadn't faded since they left you. Zoe skipped beside her in platform sneakers, wearing a red bomber jacket over a tank top with Huntrix World Tour printed across the chest. Izuku kept his hoodie half-zipped, ever aware but at ease. It was rare to be together like this without reporters, without villains, without Eri tugging at his sleeve. So, Mira asked, tilting her head. Popsicles or crepes? Crepes, Zoe answered instantly, already bouncing on her heels. Strawberries and whipped cream. And if they have chocolate drizzle, sugar rush. Zoe, is a dangerous Zoe. Izuku interrupted with a laugh. You're gonna crash before sunset. He added, remembering last time, when he was in South Korea and he was drunk but he had gone sober just to take care of a sugar-induced Zoe. Zoe grinned. I live in chaos, cutie. They passed under a row of paper lanterns and between small street stalls. Fans occasionally waved at them, whispering excitedly from a distance. A few had phones out, but no one got too close. U.A.'s staff had worked hard to secure the area. It was supposed to be the perfect date. Supposed to be. It happened too fast. A sharp crack pierced the air. A sound Izuku knew too well. The echoes of a sniper. His head snapped up. Danger sense flared late. His arm moved bang. The bullet hit. Zoe gasped as her body jerked back, red blooming across her side. Her breath hitched, then blood splattered from her mouth as she fell into Izuku's arms. Time slowed. Mira screamed. Izuku cradled Zoe against him, heart hammering like a war drum. Zoe. She blinked up at him, pupils shaking. Izuku, it hurts, it really, blood spilled from her lips again. She went still. Izuku didn't scream. He didn't move. He just looked up. And saw the figure. Rooftop. 300 meters. Packing the rifle away. Calm. Precise. Professional. A sniper. Izuku's teeth are clenched. Mira was already beside them, hand on Zoe's wound, desperately trying to stop the bleeding. We need help. Now. Izuku stood slowly. He turned to Mira, eyes like stone as his shaky voice became icy, colder. Take her. Get her to recovery, girl. Izuku, with little strings of patience he had left, commands Mira. Izuku Mira only saw this expression once, and that was when Izuku helped them against Gwima. He looked at her. She stopped arguing. Go, he whispered. Don't look back. Be careful, Mira obeyed. She ran while carefully holding the injured Zoe, and they were gone in the distance, leaving Izuku to deal with everything. Izuku's hands glowed. Hear my rage, I am the holy sword hero, answer my call. Evan's mana, the blade he wields, that violates the logic of fate itself, manifested in Izuku's left hand, hidden as a bracelet that turns into his trusted weapon. You have mistaken my mercy for weakness, die out, you're all just mere embers of all for one's cruelty. He closed his eyes. One for all, along with his quirk multiplier going haywire with supplying the sword too much energy, Izuku was sent to a void when he opened his eyes. I know what to do, he murmured, as if by instinct he imagined the figure of the assassin sent to kill him, and injured Zoe. This is my mercy, raising the sword over his head, with rage in his heart. Izuku swung Evan's mana, with no target, no close person to slash. It only has one purpose. To sever, not a body, but spirit and their very own existence itself. Izuku, by using Evan's mana, didn't just sever their souls. Izuku severed the assassin's existence itself. He doesn't exist in the past, present, nor future. This is the potential that Evan's mana had reached, the singularity point of Izuku's experiment with his embers and sword. Evan's mana had reached the singularity point. It lets the user be sent into a void where he could manipulate someone's fate or destroy it. But severing the line that passes a person through past, present and future. They think he had gone soft after killing Shigaraki, but no, they awakened a sleeping monster who only wanted to be loved. Meanwhile, in the outside world, the assassin kneels, each limbs on his body is being destroyed. In the past he was never born, he wasn't the right SPRM to fertilize in his mother's WMB, another took his place. Both his present and future were destroyed. What's happening, starting with his fingers that slowly crumbles into particles of light. Until, Izuku Midoriya, you're the real monster, he let out, glaring at Izuku who just arrived. I am, so what? You wanted to kill the person I love, you deserve this. Izuku grabbed the man by the hair. You don't deserve to exist, you're a mistake. Izuku spat in the man's face before plunging Evan's mana on the man's heart. Just know, your contractors are next, they'll suffer the same fate, I will make sure of it. Izuku proclaimed, as the man's body became nothing but particles. It signified that the man no longer exists, no matter what timeline in the records of reality, he never existed. Evan's mana disappeared, and became his bracelet once again, while the quirk multiplier retracts and becomes a normal earphone again. Whoever this rising threat is, I am ready for anything. I helped destroy Gwima, I destroyed an all-for-one powered Shigaraki. Izuku sighed and looked at a distance. What can you offer? He spoke. Smoke drifted through the plaza like a veil of ghosts. What once was vibrant and filled with laughter now echoed with silence. Lanterns still fluttered in the wind, untouched by the violence that had just rewritten the fate of a man from existence. Izuku stood there. Alone. His eyes slowly returned to green, dull and heavy. The quirk multiplier, now dormant, beeped quietly as it powered down. His breathing slowed. The glow in his scars dimmed. But the weight, that stayed. He turned back. Not toward the disappearing body, nor the vanishing trace of a man who never was. But toward the direction Mira ran. Medical wing. Zoe's BLD stained half the coat. She lay still, pale, her chest rising shallowly beneath layers of gauze. Medical drones hovered nearby, and Recovery Girl worked tirelessly alongside other support staff. The door slid open. And Izuku walked in. Not as a hero. But as a lover, who's so worried for his girlfriend. Amira looked up, lip trembling. You're back. Izuku didn't respond immediately. His eyes went straight to Zoe. She looked peaceful. Deceptively so. She's stabilized, Recovery Girl said, not lifting her eyes from her tools. Barely. You got her here just in time. Another 2 minutes and... I know, Izuku whispered, the venom in his voice was still there, not for anyone in the room but for himself, for being too slow. Mira stood and approached him slowly. What happened to the assassin? Izuku looked her in the eye. There was no hesitation. He doesn't exist anymore. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. She saw it then, the flicker of power still thrumming in Izuku's aura. Faint. Like a burning wick ready to reignite, how Evan's mana doesn't have that kind of ability. She whispered. I went beyond it, he said quietly. The sword responded to my intent, to my mercy. And that mercy is not kindness anymore, Mira. It's justice. He leaned over Zoe and gently brushed her bangs back from her forehead. I should have been faster, he murmured. If I was you wouldn't be in this state right now. A solemn stream of tears drips down from his cheeks. You saved her, Mira replied, reaching out and grabbing his sleeve. You killed the assassin. She's still breathing, Izuku. That's what matters. Mira caressed his arms, giving comfort Izuku badly needed. Not everyone can be saved, Izuku, you know that, she leaned on his shoulder. But he didn't respond. Not right away. Because in his mind, he wasn't celebrating killing someone. He wondered in his mind, the thought that made him lose one for all in the first place, the thought that when Muscular killed Koda's parents. He arrived at a single conclusion and it's not a good one. He arrived at a single conclusion and it's not a good one. A good villain is a dead villain. He's done holding back, he's done being held by his own moral code since because of it, he almost lost Mira. If he had only done his job and killed villains when he had the chance, then there would be no one gunning on his head. Chapter 7 Huntrix and Hero, MHA, A My Hero Academia fanfiction. 1 week later a hologram flickered to life in front of Izuku. Strings of data, intercepted messages, encrypted orders, all connected by red threads drawn across a 3D city map. La Brava, arms folded and face pale under the monitor's light, spoke grimly. I dug deep, little bro. And I mean deep. Old contractor files, off-record payments, falsified operations logs, ghost budget channels, that's Suda Kakihi, vice president of the Hero Public Safety Commission. Been in power since before Kamino. Quiet, unremarkable, but always at the table. Guess what I found in his shadow account? Izuku didn't speak. Just stared and let her continue with what she found. He's thankful he has his big sister figure to help him. La Brava continued, payments made to Omega Shin the assassin. Dated 3 weeks before Zoe was shot. Instructions, ensure emotional compromise of subject Midoriya. Collateral acceptable. She stated a silence. Izuku's jaw clenched. His fingers flexed, and Evan's mana twitched at his wrist, responding to the tension in his soul, as the ever-growing energy within him pulsed in resonance to his anger. Hawks don't know, La Brava added quickly. This guy's been moving in secret, behind the president's back. Kakihi's been running his own black ops within the commission. I think he's trying to get you to snap. Make you look like a threat. Izuku turned to her, eyes sharp as glass. To justify locking me up. Or worse. La Brava nodded. Or to take your support gear Evan's mana, by making you the villain he has lawful force to take custody of your weapon. Izuku grits his teeth, he knew he attracted some power-hungry people when he made the sword. But unknown to him Evan's mana's awakening was recent and he had no idea what it could do. You, rooftop, that night Mira stood quietly as Izuku relayed what he'd learned. She didn't speak until he finished. This wasn't about Zoe. This wasn't even about you. Mira said, voice tight. It's about control. They're scared of you. Izuku stared out across the city skyline, lips pressed into a line. They should be. The heroic aura within Izuku dwindled corrupt. Izuku. Mira tried her best to show her hard-headed mask, but what happened to Zoe was too much, even for her. They crossed a line. I gave them peace. I gave them mercy. I could have ended the commission the day they backed quirk suppression tech, remember? But I let Hawks rebuild it. I trusted him. Mira stepped closer. He still doesn't know, does he? Then it's time he did. Izuku said, as he turned to her, finally. I'm going to him. And if Hawks won't clean house. Then, he shifted making sure Mira doesn't see his eyes filled with nothing but rage. I will. It wasn't a threat, but a promise. Hero Public Safety Commission HQ, the president's office. Hawks looked like he hadn't slept. He stood with his hands buried in his pockets, cape drooping, the ever-growing feathers twitching as he watched Izuku enter without knocking. You've got a hell of a look in your eye, kid, he said. You look like someone said on your drink. Hawks added, this wasn't the usual Izuku he knew from UA, from the war. Izuku stopped in front of the desk. His voice was quiet. No. It's about your vice president. A pause. Izuku tossed the hologram drive on the desk. Ask your people to decrypt it. It's all there. Kakihi sent the hit. He's been operating shadow blacklists under your nose. Izuku scowled, as rage was cracking the desk. Hawks didn't move for several seconds. Then he slowly picked up the drive. You're sure of this? Hawks asked. He paid a man to shoot Zoe, to get to my nerves so he could take my weapon. Izuku rested Evan's mana on the table. Hawks somewhat had an idea of what it could do. So in the past month he had commissioned a quirk multiplier from Izuku so his quirk would heal faster and he could return to do some hero work. Then he's done, you can have my word. Hawk's eyes finally lifted. There was no hesitation. Give me 48 hours. I'll burn his career to ash. You have my word. He stated. Izuku narrowed his eyes. No delays. Hawks mirrored what Izuku said and replied. No delays. 2 days later, press conference. The world watched as HPSC Vice President Suda Kakihi was brought into custody, charged with conspiracy, assassination attempts, unauthorized lethal ops, and treason against the Hero Commission. Hawks stood beside the announcement podium, face blank. Behind the scenes, Izuku watched silently. Zoe, still recovering, rested in Myra's lap. Her bandages are still fresh, but her spirit is intact. Mira gripped Izuku's hand as he turned to her. He thought I'd snap. That I'd lose myself, did you? Mira asked, softly. Izuku didn't answer. He just stared at the screen, at the man who tried to destroy his peace. Almost, he whispered. I just remembered how I still have light in this darkness. I still have, you my girlfriends, my friends, my mom and Eri. Izuku smiled, ruffling Zoe's bangs. If I lost Zoe or Mira, I don't know what kind of monster I'd have become. That future never existed. I made sure to use Evan's mana and severed that future. Izuku coughed up a bit of BLD in secret. The toll of destroying a future with Evan's mana is still too great for his body to handle. A sealed beneath the ruins of Kamino Ward. Cold stone. Forgotten place. Surveillance shielded. A place only Izuku could access. This is where All for One fell to All Might's power the second time they fought. Evan's mana shimmered in its activated state, a long, silver-edged sword with its core glowing like a dying star, pulsing vibrant colors with echoes of One for All's embers being multiplied by Izuku's quirk multiplier. Izuku Midoriya stood at the center of the void, dressed not in his hero uniform, but a sleeveless black combat shirt. His scarred arms glowed faintly, the quirk multiplier active but rested at his ear. A long line floated before him, translucent, swirling with strands of time. In it, dozens of ghost-like projections of Suda Kakihi flickered, old, retired, giving speeches, laughing with family, writing memoirs. A future where he lives. Izuku's gaze was dead calm. This isn't for Zoe. It's not for Mira. It's for the me I destroyed, a future where you succeed. He raised Evan's mana to eye level. His voice came out as a whisper. This is for the future you tried to rob from everyone else, you killed, you imprisoned, you robbed. He stepped forward. Time slowed. The void rippled. Each echo of Kakihi's possible future twisted and bent toward Izuku's sword. He saw one version of the man trying to atone. Another quietly living in exile. Another rising to political power again behind the curtain. Izuku's grip tightened. You have 1 hour left, make it count. Izuku raised his sword. Evan's mana shone like a comet about to break the sky. Your time ends here. He swung Evan's mana. The blade sliced not through flesh, but through possibility. Each version of Kakihi beyond the next hours, collapsed. Unmade. One by one, the timelines shattered like glass. The old man's smiles vanished. His breath stopped. In every divergent possibility past the year's mark, he was gone. Evan's mana's glow dimmed. The void of possibilities and future flickered. Reality reasserted itself. Izuku stepped back. The blade returned to its dormant bracelet form, now warm to the touch. He whispered, not every monster dies with a sword through the chest. Some just. Izuku opened his eyes, as he exited the space. Where he just severed someone's fate and possible future. Stopped existing, he whispered. Daika City Hospital. Suda Kakihi lay in a high-security hospital bed, sedated and restrained. Monitors beeped calmly. Then suddenly, he flatlined. The doctor rushed in. No wounds. No toxins. No visible signs of cardiac failure. He just stopped. After an hour, UA dorms. Izuku sat in the common room, saw Zoe being helped by Mira as they sat next to him. Mama. Papa said you got hurt and he didn't told me, just yesterday. Zoe was tackled by Eri, who was worried for her mama. I'm fine, Angel, come here, give mama a hug, I won't let go again. Zoe hugged the poor child, who was crying for almost a day now. It took Rumi and her children to calm Eri, but her mama Zoe's state still made the little girl dread the possibility of losing a mama. Izuku stood. Where are you going, Izuku? Mira questioned. Just at the door, I need some fresh air. He said before walking away. Mira didn't go after him. She knew Izuku almost broke when there was a possibility of losing Zoe. Izuku at the door, he stood looking at the sky. You don't deserve to live. 3 years of imprisonment is too light for what you did to Zoe. Izuku knew inside him, he was changing. But if it helps with protecting the ones he loves, then he welcomes that change. Checkmate, he murmured. Huntrix and Hero, MHA, a My Hero Academia fanfiction. You. Dormitory balcony. The night was cool and still. Cicadas buzzed softly in the distant trees. A warm wind carried the faint scent of wood and dust. Izuku Midoriya stood alone on the balcony, arms resting on the railing, gaze locked on the star-pierced sky. His breath was calm, but only on the outside. Inside, something warred. Not guilt, but fragments of the boy he once was. "You don't deserve to live," the words echoed in his mind again. His own voice. And it didn't feel foreign anymore. Kakihi was gone. Not killed. Not imprisoned. Erased. A line of possibility severed like a weed at its root. The world would never know what could have been. Only that he simply stopped. Izuku's fingers curled against the metal. "That future never existed," he whispered. "Because I decided it didn't deserve to." That's what scared him most. Not the power. But how easy it was now. A quiet presence joined him. He didn't turn, but he knew who it was. Mira. She didn't say anything at first. Oops. This image does not follow our content guidelines. To continue publishing, please remove it or upload a different image. She didn't say anything at first. Just leaned beside him, her shoulder brushing against his arm. "I saw the BLD, she murmured. "The towel in the laundry. You've been hunting villains down, didn't you?" For days, Izuku had been hunting villains down without using his sword. He wanted to let off some steam, so he fought with his hands. Izuku said nothing. "You didn't kill that HPSC vice pres, but you shortened the thread. I knew when he flatlined, that was you. That thing you do." Izuku. Izuku lowered his head. "Does it scare you?" he asked, quietly. "Yes," she said without hesitation. "But not as much as the thought of losing the man I started dating months ago, the same man who fought with us side by side to defeat GWIMA." "Izuku, you're losing yourself." She turned to him, her voice trembling. "Izuku, I'm scared of what this power is turning you into, but I'm more scared of you walking this road without anyone to stop you when it's too far." She caressed Izuku's cheeks. Izuku finally looked at her. Tired eyes. Burdened soul. "I almost lost Zoe, and Eri would have lost her too. If I hadn't acted. I can't afford to burden Eri with a trauma with losing one of her mamas." Izuku answered, his voice solemn. He clenched the rail. "What good is this power if I can't use it to protect them? To make sure there's no second chance for someone like him?" He grasped the railings as it crumbled down from the pressure of his hand. She stepped forward. Placed a hand on his chest, over his heart, still thudding with purpose. "Izuku," she whispered. "Your heart is still in pain. I can feel it. That's why I'm here. That's why Zoe loves you. And why Eri still sees a father in you." She comforts him. Izuku stared at her, trembling slightly. "I don't know if I can come back from this. I got rageful. I killed a person." Izuku wanted to dig a hole in the ground and hide there. "You don't have to come back," she said gently. "You just need to stay grounded. Stay you. Let us carry the darkness with you." Zoe lay awake, fingers gently running through Eri's soft white hair as she slept curled against her. The monitors around her had quieted. Her pain was dull now. What wasn't dull, was her guilt. She remembered the BLD on Izuku's hands when he cradled her. The look in his eyes. The rage. "Izuku, you're an angel," she whispered. "Don't fall," she pleaded as the wind carried her words. "You, rooftop, midnight." Izuku sat on the rooftop railing, one leg hanging off the edge, the other tucked beneath him. Evansmana's bracelet glinted under the moonlight, resting coldly against his wrist. His eyes, tired and distant, stared at the stars. The city below slept. But his soul did not. "I severed a future, and prevented a person from living. I destroyed his fate of living. I didn't actually kill him but destroyed the possibility of him living after an hour. And I'd do it again." His tone changed, as if he's adamant on that idea. The thought haunted him more than it comforted. He knew the cost. The sickness. The BLD. The silence afterward. A gust of wind swept across the rooftop. But it didn't carry leaves or dust. It carried footsteps, cloth rustled. A soft impact behind him. Izuku turned, instinct humming. And his breath caught. A young man stood before him. Green eyes. Freckles. Windswept hair. Wearing a sleek black and white trench coat, armored gauntlets glowing with runes of ancient energy. A pair of glowing white wings made of energy and light extended behind him. A pair of glowing white wings made of energy and light extended behind him. Oops. This image does not follow our content guidelines. To continue publishing, please remove it or upload a different image. Hey, the version of him said, voice calm and warm. Didn't mean to startle you, Midoriya, his variant joked. Izuku blinked. Wait, are you? The figure smiled faintly. Another you. From another possibility. Call me White. It's easier than saying, the you who inherited the White Dragon Emperor's sacred gear. He chuckled lightly. Izuku stepped back. I thought those were from an anime. Sacred gears divine dividing, that's real. White shrugged. As real as your Evans mana from Malgakuen. Different worlds. Same burden. Different sins. Izuku's voice cracked slightly. Why now? White stepped to the edge beside him, looking out at the same sky. His wings folded behind his back with a faint shimmer. Because I felt your power, the lines forming in you. I came here to prevent you from becoming another him. He pointed at Izuku's chest. The crack forming inside your soul. The doubt. The guilt. The rage. Izuku looked down, eyes flicking with pain. I almost became something I couldn't come back from. White nodded slowly. I know. I've stood where you're standing. With BLD on my hands. With power that bends time, fate, and even death. I've erased tyrants. I've undone gods. All in the name of protecting those I love, to protect Mina, I did all those. Izuku's fingers curled. Then you understand. I do. White turned to him. But I also learned something. He extended his hand, and a small feather of light floated from his palm. We're not heroes because we refuse to use our power. We're heroes because we know when it's time to use it when we have to. White spoke, while putting his hand on Izuku's shoulder. Izuku met his gaze. The fact you're up here. Hating yourself for what you did to Kikihi, that's proof. White smiled gently. You didn't become a monster. You became a protector. With a blade too sharp for the world to understand. And yet, he added softly, you still cry when the ones you love gets hurt. Izuku swallowed. I didn't want to lose Zoe. That's what separates us, Izuku. You're still you, so don't lose that. His variant smiled at him. Think it through, Izuku. With that, he stepped back and vanished in a swirl of silver wind and white light. He left Izuku there alone, contemplating with his own feelings, his ideals. Izuku was thankful. This version of him visited him when he needed someone to open up to. Thank you. With that, the determination of a hero lit up once again within Izuku's core. Huntrix and Hero, MHA, A My Hero Academia fanfiction. You. Dorms. Sunday morning. The dorms were unusually quiet. No training drills. No alarms. Just the gentle hum of peace and the smell of fresh bread wafting from the kitchen. Inside one of the dorm rooms, Aries' room, painted in soft lavender and pink, a scene of serenity played out. Zoe sat cross-legged on the bed, still in her red Huntrix pajama shorts, hair a mess. She held a hairbrush in one hand like it was a dagger. Her eyes narrowed in mock seriousness. Okay, princess. You ready for battle? Aerie giggled, sitting in front of her with a towel wrapped around her shoulders. Yes, Queen Mama Zoe. Then let us tame this feral beast. Zoe declared, brushing the white strands of Aries' hair like it was some mythical creature. Mira stood near the window, arms crossed, sipping tea with a knowing smirk. She wore one of Izuku's button-up shirts, oversized and hanging low past her thighs. Her long red hair is unkempt. "You're so dramatic," she said, watching the scene with warmth in her voice. Zoe turned her nose up. "I'm adding flair. Brushing hair is a sacred bonding ritual, I'm bringing magic to Aries' hair." Aries nodded solemnly. "Mama Zoe says I'll become a sorceress of cuteness if I mstr the rituals." Mira raised an eyebrow, walking over. "Oh, she did she?" Zoe blinked innocently. "No idea what she's talking about. Like she's trying to stir the idea didn't come from her." Mira rolled her eyes and sat down behind Aries. "Here, let me help with the back part. You're going to break her scalp if you keep yanking like that." Together, they brushed. The three of them sat on the bed, sunlight casting long golden beams across the room. And something peaceful settled. A quiet that wasn't awkward. A silence that wasn't empty. After a while, Aries started humming to herself, playing with one of her plushies. Mira glanced at Zoe from the side. "You know, it used to scare me. Sharing him." Zoe stilled, eyes softening. Mira continued, voice gentle. "I thought I had to compete. Had to always be the one who made him smile, who kept him grounded." She ran the brush slowly through Aries' hair. "But then I saw you. During the GWIMA battle. And I saw the way you looked at him when he was bleeding, but still smiling." Zoe looked down. Her voice was low. "I didn't mean to fall for him. He was yours. I knew that." Mira chuckled softly. "Yeah, and he made space in his heart for you anyway, that's my Izuku, that's why I love him." They were quiet again. Aries had dozed off between them, head resting against Myra's leg. Zoe reached over and took Myra's free hand. "You're not alone in this," she whispered. "We both love him. And I think we both love her too." Mira nodded, her eyes glossy. "She calls us both Mama. That's all the proof I need." Zoe smiled. And for the first time, not just as friends, not just as co-lovers, they looked at each other as partners. Not in rivalry. But in family. Dorm hallway. The hall was dim, lit only by moonlight filtering in through the tall dorm windows. A faint lavender-scented breeze flowed in from a cracked window down the corridor, carrying the calm hum of sleep and safety. The door to Aries' room was slightly opened. Inside, the soft glow of her moon and star nightlights cast a warm, magical hue across the blanket fort. Three small forms lay tangled together beneath the quilts. Aries, peaceful with a faint smile, Derpy sprawled with one arm flopped over Susie. It looked like a painting, one Izuku wanted to burn into his mind. He would never forget this heartwarming scene. And just outside the doorway stood Izuku, Mira and Zoe, Rumi and Jinnu, silent, still, watching the scene, their hearts warmed and touched by the scene before them. They really passed out like that. Izuku was the first one to speak, questioning how the three passed out like that. Mira nodded, leaning on his shoulder. Derpy told 6 stories, Susie listened to all of them, and Aries tried to braid her own hair backwards. It was chaos. Zoe snorted. But they earned it. Cousin bonding complete. Rumi, standing beside Jinnu, chuckled. They're a family now. Unbreakable. Jinnu's long coat whispered as he knelt near the doorframe, gaze on the girls. His demonic eyes softened, no glow, no rage, just quiet awe. For a long time, I believed something like this was never meant for me. He remembered his past, how he became a demon and was subjected to GWMA's control. Rumi looked at him with calm warmth. You thought you weren't meant for this. Jinnu didn't reply. He didn't need to. Because next to Derpy, her striped tail flicked under the blanket in a happy dream twitch. And next to her, Susie's hand clutched Aries like it was her anchor. You deserve to be happy too, Jinnu. A kiss grazed his cold cheeks. Jinnu looked and saw Rumi holding his hand tightly. Mira with a soft sigh, do you guys ever just stop and think how far we've come? Izuku blinked. Every day. He still couldn't believe the life he has now. No more stage ambushes, Mira whispered. No more GWIMA. Just this. 3 kids asleep and safe. Zoe grinned. And a room that smells like glitter glue, crayons, and childhood. She pointed at the scattered glue, glitters and crayons. Rumi leaned on Jinnu. I like this piece. This is the world I fought for. I didn't know it back then, but this is it. Izuku reached for Mira and Zoe's hands on either side of him, squeezing gently. Not fame. Not legacy. Just moments like this. Where no one's crying. No one's running. And they can just sleep peacefully. Izuku added. Rumi crossed her arms. If anyone tries to take that away, Rumi clenched her fist, she almost lost her friend she can't lose. This. They won't. Jinnu said quietly, but with finality. Not while we still breathe. Click. Mira took a picture with her phone. Gonna frame this, she whispered. Proof that we did something right. Izuku chuckled at that, and his gaze focused on Aries' sleeping form. I'd do anything to keep this piece safe. His bracelet, Evan's mana glowed for a moment, reacting to its wielder's emotion. Anything. Huntrix and Hero, MHA, a My Hero Academia fanfiction. After Izuku saw the peaceful sight of Eri and her cousins, how happy Jinnu and Rumi is to be adoptive parents to Susie and Derpy, how adorable Mira and Zoe to Eri. It steeled him, it made him determined. So, with the gift given to him by his own innovation, he knew one thing he must do. The void of possibilities, there was no ground. No sky. No gravity. Only the weight of every possibility Izuku Midoriya could no longer endure. And in the center of it a sword glowed like a dying star, Evan's mana, awakened and humming in solemn resonance with its wielder's resolve. Izuku floated with it, suspended in a kneeling prayer. His fists clenched. His cheeks wet with silent tears. Dozens, no, hundreds of glowing threads extended from the sword's edge, each one a timeline, a possible version of the world that could have happened. And in many of them, Izuku had lost everything. Each thread pulsed like a memory. Inko Midoriya lying in a collapsed apartment, her hand still clutching her phone, calling him. Class 3A, gone in an explosion that wasn't supposed to happen. Momo Yaoyorozu's book buried in rubble. Mira, assassinated during a concert. Zoe, bleeding out in his arms from a mission went wrong. And worst of all, he watched Eri, only 7, reaching for him in a crumbling UA building, screaming for her papa as the roof fell. Papa. The thread snapped. Izuku shook. No more. He clenched his fist. No more versions of me that fail them. His fingers gripped the hilt of Evan's mana. The sword responded. Its runes burned green gold, fate itself trembling. I don't care if they were possibilities, he couldn't afford to wait, to let those possibilities become his present. I don't care if they were never real. Izuku breathes in, heavy and cold. If there exists even one version of me that couldn't save them, then that version doesn't deserve to exist. His voice cracked, a stream of steady tears drips down on his cheeks. None of them do. He raised the blade. Evan's mana ignited. Not with rage, but with his resolve. Evan's mana, grant them mercy, sever those possibilities. Izuku's quirk multiplier in the outside world had activated. Erase every future, every possibility, where I lose them. Evan's mana answered its wielder's resolve and glowed with power. He swung it once. And the threads of possibilities scream. The possibility threads snapped one by one, each shattering like glass into dust. No more timelines where Eri dies scared. No more timelines where Mira sings her last song. No more timelines where Inko dies waiting. No more timelines where Class 3A falls without a fight. No more timelines where Zoe dies alone. For it all, Izuku paid the price as each line was severed. Izuku's body bled, not from wounds, but from the backlash. Evan's mana, even merciful, was not free. Its price was a damage to Izuku's own soul. His BLD floated through the void like ink in water, each droplet forming runes of protection sealing away the erased horrors. His breathing grew shallow. But his grip never loosened. "This is the world I'll protect." Izuku murmured, "The one where they live." He added as Evan's mana dimmed, "Its work is complete." Izuku collapsed. But in his unconscious descent, even with the burden he carried, he smiled. Erased timeline, Quirk War aftermath, final ruins of Muzutafu. The sky was red. Not from the sunset. But from fire. Ash rained like snow across the collapsed rubble of high, twisted steel frames and fractured stone, all that remained of the place once called a sanctuary. Izuku Midoriya limped through the ruins, his body broken beyond healing, his right leg dragging, his arms trembling, his green eyes dulled with grief. He was the last one. There was no All Might. No Bakugo. No Ida. No Todoroki. No Mira. No Zoe. No Inko, no Eri. Only him. Only guilt, because he didn't do the job, because he let Kikihi live. "I lost them all," he was sobbing, "no power, no will, no point, all of this, because he couldn't do it, he couldn't take that greedy man's life." He dropped to his knees near the ruins of the dorms where Eri's crayon-stained blankets were now covered in dust and glass. Her little plush unicorn lay torn beside him. He touched it, barely. Then time stopped, a soundless ripple shimmered across the air. The horizon fractured like a mirror dipped in water. A sword appeared. Not in the sky. Not in his hand. But in the very fabric of the world. Evan's mana. The severer of fate. The destroyer of continuity. And Izuku understood. "It's me." In his eyes hope, the past me, from the timeline where I still have them. He hoped, he really did hope that there's a version of him who still has everyone he loves. His fingers curled around the plush. He exhaled shakily, his eyes burning with tears, not from fear of dying, but from a strange, aching peace. "You're here to end it, aren't you?" Izuku pleaded, his hope at the highest peak. He knew what Evan's mana was capable of. The sword glowed, trembling in the air like a whisper from across time. He bowed his head. "Thank you for remembering me." While looking at the world, the city in ruins, dead bodies piled up across the cities. "For seeing this version. For knowing I existed." He whispered to the one version who was clutching Evan's mana. "And for taking the weight I couldn't carry anymore." His face, plastered with content. You're the hero we needed." He said. "Not me. You." He didn't look away, he welcomed it. The air shimmered. The ruins flickered. And as the fabric of this doomed reality was severed, the last thought in this Izuku's heart was not fear. It was peace. "Thank you, Izuku, for putting me to rest." He spreads his arms wide, welcoming his and his own world's fate, with a smile on his face. The timeline vanished, not in fire, not in chaos. But in soft light. A gentle end. A merciful end, Izuku Midoriya had been waiting for years. Dorm rooftop, late night. The wind was cold that night. Mira stepped onto the rooftop in Izuku's hoodie, hugging herself against the breeze. She hadn't seen him since dinner. Not really. Something had been weighing on him. Again. She found him near the edge, sitting with his legs over the ledge, his back to her. At first, she thought he was just stargazing. Until he turned, and smiled. And BLD trailed from the corner of his mouth. "Izuku," she rushed forward, kneeling beside him. His breathing was ragged, shallow, like someone who had sprinted beyond his limit. His hand twitched, his bracelet faintly glowing, the afterglow of Evan's mana still fading. Mira held his face, trembling. "What did you do?" "You're bleeding," her voice cracked. "It's done now," Izuku murmured again, voice hoarse. "They're safe, all the futures where I lost you, where I lost her, all of them gone." He smiled through the pain, like someone watching a sunrise after surviving the night. "I did it," and then he collapsed into her arms. "Izuku," she screamed. Izuku blinked awake. Warmth on both sides. Zoe asleep on his left, holding his arm. Mira on his right, fingers wrapped in his. He smiled. "Still here." And closed his eyes again. Peaceful. Safe. "I will protect this."